Welcome to Subverse, the multiversal Reddit parody channel. All rights to any characters or universes belong to their rightful overlords. Please support the official versions. They've earned it.
Today, I effed up by accidentally becoming the most famous kid in the wizard world, and kind of killing a guy, maybe. So yeah, long post. Sorry in advance, it's been a week. I don't exactly have anyone else to tell this to without getting locked in the cupboard again. So here goes. I, 12M, might have accidentally saved an entire school and maybe committed some light manslaughter in the process. It's all a bit complicated. So let me start at the beginning, because if I don't, none of this will sound even remotely believable. Not that believable means much to me lately. Anyway, here goes. Before last year, I thought the weirdest thing about me was that my aunt cut my hair with kitchen scissors. Now I'm a celebrity. Apparently, I survived a baby-murdering dark wizard, which is supposed to make me special. Personally, I think it just makes me lucky and slightly cursed. But sure, let's all clap for the traumatized orphan. Anyway. The year started pretty normal. Well, as normal as living with people who pretend you don't exist can be. Then this half-giant bloke breaks down the door on my birthday, tells me I'm a wizard, and gives me a cake he sat on. I didn't even question it. That's where I'm at mentally. Random giant smashes in a door, says magic is real, and I'm just like, yeah, that tracks. Then I go to the school that apparently no one bothers to regulate. There are no fire exits, every staircase moves like it's possessed, and the janitor looks like he crawled out of a Dickens novel. Everyone's totally fine with it. Kids disappear all the time, but as long as the house cup points get updated, no one seems to care. The teachers aren't much better. One of them literally wore a turban all year to hide a second head. That should have been a clue, right? Nope. We were all too busy learning how to levitate feathers and getting attacked by flying keys to notice the professor had a skull squatter. It's wild how quickly you normalize the impossible. One minute I'm living under stairs, the next I'm drinking a potion brewed by a bloke who hates children recreationally. And don't get me started on the sport. Here, son, ride this broomstick 50 feet in the air and catch a tiny gold ball while people throw rocks at you. Absolutely fine. Totally safe. By the way, apparently I'm a natural. I mean, I'd never actually heard of, seen, or played the game before. But sure, I'm the best. Either the talent pool is really shallow, or trauma unlocks athletic potential. I'll let you know when the research is published. So, that's Act 1. The part where I'm still amazed, still wide-eyed, still thinking magic is mostly harmless fun and not, a series of death traps disguised as education. Then things got intense. It started with a troll in the bathroom. You read that right. A troll, full-sized, smells like old sausages and death, casually strolling through a castle full of children. I nearly died. My friend nearly died. The staff apparently didn't have a lockdown plan because they just waved their wands and hoped for the best. And then there was this whole thing about a mysterious secret object hidden in the school. Nobody thought to, move it somewhere not surrounded by unsupervised minors. Nope. They just chucked it under a trapdoor guarded by monsters like it was a funhouse for gifted kids. Naturally, my friends and I went to investigate because that's what 11-year-olds do when faced with mortal danger. Poke it with a stick? I'd like to say we were brave, but honestly, we were just unsupervised and curious. That's a deadly combo. We went through a three-headed dog, adorable if you ignore the teeth, a room full of killer vines, a swarm of flying keys, and a chess set that physically murders you. And then, surprise, after clearing all the trials and reaching the ultimate magical pebble, the guy who'd been teaching us defense against the dark arts all year was lying in wait. The only way I can describe the frustration I felt in that moment is comparing it to when you barely cleared the Elite Four, only to be told you now have to face off against Blue again. Still hurts. Anyway, enough about that. Back to the story. Turns out he's been possessed by the evilest wizard in history, and in hindsight, I really should have known. His classroom smelled like garlic and regret, and the headwear was a red flag if ever there was one. So there I am, face to face with Lord Can't Keep a Body, and instead of doing the smart thing, running, I decide to touch him. Like, literally grab his face. Why? No clue. Pure instinct maybe. Turns out my skin is basically anti-evil hand sanitizer, because he dissolved on contact. Great power, terrible responsibility, and just like that, I'm a hero again. The boy who lived became the boy who melted a professor. Cool, add that to my CV. The thing is, no one ever tells you what happens after you saved the day. There's no debrief, no therapy owl. No, hey kid, sorry about all the near-death experiences. They just give you a pat on the head, some candy, and send you home to your abusive relatives. Cheers for the emotional support, really. Act 2 over. Cue the existential dread. Now, I'm in my tiny bedroom, not the cupboard this time, moving up in the world, trying to process everything. The Dursleys are pretending I don't exist again, which is honestly a relief. At least they don't ask about my adventures. I mean, how do you even start that conversation? Hey Aunt Petunia, remember when you told me magic wasn't real? Well, turns out I fought your worst nightmare and technically committed manslaughter in self-defense. Please pass the potatoes. Sometimes I wonder if it actually happened. Maybe I hallucinated it all to cope. But then I see the scar in the mirror and remember that no, it's very real, and my destiny apparently involves people trying to kill me on a yearly basis. Fun. The weirdest part is how everyone treats me now. At school, I'm the chosen one. Here, I'm the freak. There's no middle ground. I'd kill, metaphorically this time, just to be normal, to have someone look at me without projecting either awe or disgust. And it's not like I did anything to deserve it. I didn't beat Voldemort, I just existed while my mum did all the work. But every adult in the wizarding world keeps winking at me like I'm some kind of prodigy. Newsflash, I still can't fold my socks properly. I kept waiting for letters from my friends. Every morning I'd sit by the window pretending not to, just in case Uncle Vernon noticed. But nothing, not a single owl. At first I thought maybe the post just doesn't reach Surrey properly. After a few weeks though, it started to sting. We literally almost died together. You'd think that earns at least one postcard. Part of me wondered if I'd imagined how close we were. Maybe I was just the weird tag-along who happened to be good at getting into trouble. Or maybe they realized life was simpler without the famous one around. I tried not to be bitter, but it's hard when the silence feels personal. Still, I keep hoping an owl will show up. Maybe they're busy. Or maybe there's some magical postal delay. Knowing my luck, the mailman's cursed or something. But I swear, if I find out later that all my letters were stolen by some mischievous elf or cosmic glitch, I'm hexing someone's socks off. It's weird how lonely it gets after the magic fades. Hogwarts is chaos, but at least it's alive. Here it's just me, peeling wallpaper and a barred window. I used to think the cupboard was small, but at least it felt familiar. This room feels like waiting for something I can't name. Sometimes I dream about the mirror, the one that showed me my parents. I haven't told anyone that part. When I looked into it, I saw them smiling at me, proud, alive. It was like being loved by a ghost. Dumbledore said the mirror shows your deepest desire, but he didn't mention that it also rips your heart out every time you wake up. I know this is supposed to be funny, but it's hard not to get a bit bleak about it all. I keep replaying that final fight in my head, the way Quirrell's skin turned to ash, the smell, the screaming. Everyone talks about it like it was heroic. But sometimes I wonder if there's something wrong with me, because part of me didn't feel scared. It felt right, like I'd been waiting for that moment my whole life, and that's unsettling. Maybe that's what the scar is, not just a mark from him, but a reminder that a piece of that darkness might still be inside me. Like, maybe, just maybe, he left more than just trauma behind. Anyway, back to humor before I depress the subreddit. Let's talk about the absolute absurdity of Castle Death Trap. You'd think after a kid almost dies, they'd install a safety rail or two. Nope. Next term will probably start with a fresh round of attempted murder disguised as house spirit. If we survive long enough, they might even give us a certificate. Congratulations, you completed year 2. Still not dead. And don't even get me started on the grading system. 1 minute you're winning points for bravery, the next you lose 50 because you sneezed too loud in potions. Snape operates entirely on spike-based economics. I'm convinced he wakes up, looks in the mirror and thinks, whose self-esteem shall I ruin today? Also, side note, why are there so many spiders in that castle? Is it a breeding program? Are they unionized? Someone should really look into that. I've been thinking about Hagrid a lot. He's the only adult who actually treats me like, well, me. Not a symbol or a freak, just Harry. He makes these awful rock cakes that could double as weapons, but he listens. Even when he accidentally tells me top secret information that nearly gets me killed, I can't stay mad at him. He means well. That's rare. Dumbledore, though. He's a puzzle. You ever meet someone who's so wise they loop back around to being irresponsible? That's him. He'll stare at you with those twinkly eyes, drop a riddle about death, and then just vanish, leaving you to figure out how not to die in a castle full of traps. Like, thanks man, really helpful. I used to think he had everything under control, but now I'm not so sure. Sometimes I think he's just letting things happen to see what we'll do, like we're all part of some giant social experiment in trauma builds character. But hey, maybe I'm just paranoid. Hard not to be, though, when you've literally met evil incarnate before puberty. Speaking of which, what even is that guy's deal? I get the whole power and immortality thing. But honestly, mate, get a hobby. Try gardening, learn an instrument, maybe get a pet snake, anything other than murder. And why me specifically? I was a baby, not exactly a worthy opponent. It's like losing a boxing match to an infant and then dedicating your life to revenge. I try to laugh about it, but it's exhausting. Being the boy who lived means you're never allowed to, just be. Every time someone says my name, I see the flicker in their eyes. Pity, curiosity, fear. Even at school, my fame follows me like a ghost. I don't know who I am without it yet. There's a part of me that wants to go back to before I knew any of it, back when my biggest worry was whether the Dursleys would forget to feed me. At least then I understood the rules. Now I'm in this in-between space where magic is real, death is personal, and growing up apparently involves collecting near-death experiences like Pokemon cards. Still, I can't deny there were moments that felt real. Ron laughing so hard pumpkin juice came out his nose. Hermione's face when she solved a problem none of us even understood. Flying for the first time and realizing, for one tiny second, that I was free. That maybe I belonged somewhere. I hold on to those moments. They make the rest of it bearable. The weirdest thing, I'm actually looking forward to going back. I know it'll probably be dangerous again. Someone will almost definitely try to kill me. Statistically speaking, it's a tradition now. But it's the only place that's ever felt like home, and I guess that's worth a little chaos. So yeah, that's my life right now. Wizard boarding school, part-time Dark Lord Slayer, full-time existential crisis. If anyone's got tips for processing trauma without magic or therapy, I'm all ears. Otherwise, I'll just keep writing these posts and hoping the internet counts as journaling. If I survive year 2, I'm demanding hazard pay. Maybe that's enough for now.
Thank you for visiting the Subverse. If you liked this video, give it a like, subscribe and share it with your nearest universe. For multiple uploads every week, and to make sure you don't miss the next transmission, hit the bell before reality resets. That's enough for now.